Hey guys, I got to get ready today because I am going out to dinner with my husband, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun for me to do a full face of makeup that I hate? Stuff that's been in that drawer. Do you have that drawer too, where you just can't make yourself get rid of it, but you know you're never going to use it again? Yeah, I have that too. And actually, I've been saving it all aside until I had a full face of things to do with you. So let's do this together. I need to look somewhat presentable. So let's pull our hair off our face and see what kind of nightmare look we can put together with things that I should know better and have gotten rid of a long time ago. If you don't pull your hair up off your face to get ready, what kind of like sorcery is that? Because I can't stand anything on or near touching my face. All right, good enough. So we are going to start with primer. I've got two to choose from. One is the Milani Peach and the NYX Pore Filler. I cannot get behind this. Like, I'm trying, but here's what happens when I go to use this. Okay, NYX Pore Filler. See that? I can't make it work for me. So we are not going to use is that cheating? I don't know. We're going to go with this one. We're going with the glass. The Milani Peach Glass Skin Primer. And I thought this was neat because it was the whole glass skin thing for a while there. And while this does give a nice glassy finish, the smell is so strong. And this is something that was only available, I think, at Walgreens. So I have a cat digging at the door. But the smell is so overpowering. It is like peach sticker, like scratch and sniff sticker. Why does everything go back to scratch and sniff for me? I don't know, but it really does. It's like that fake peach smell that you would have in like maybe a cheap candle from the dollar store. And it's really, really strong. Doesn't particularly have a bad finish on my foundation products, but you can see it does leave a nice glassy, smooth finish. This next thing, I was influenced into buying this, and I can't remember by who, but if I ever catch her, let me tell you. This is the Juno & Company Microfiber Sponge. I kept the package because I didn't understand what the hype was the first time I used it. It says seamless results every time. If you're looking for a more natural airbrush foundation finish, the Juno Microfiber Velvet Sponge is your go-to. You can see I've only used it a couple of times, and I instantly hated it. If you think that you don't notice a difference in sponges, try this one and you'll see what I mean. When it's not wet, it feels like velvet, and I feel like therefore it doesn't spread the foundation very well. Maybe that, I don't know if I'm reading into it, but regardless, that's what we're going to use. And then also I have a foundation. This is the Revlon Illuminance, and this came out I think in the spring or summer, and people were going crazy for it, and I don't understand why. I cannot make this thing work. It's not a shade thing either, but we're going to give it another shot. Although, yes, it does look pretty light. But that's not what's in that bottle. It's what's in the bottle. I feel like, oh my God. The shade is, yes, it's not perfect, but we can fix that. And I did try adding it in with other foundations, and I made use out of it for a little while by doing it like that, but I don't want to have to do all the work. Like, sometimes I'm in the mood for it and sometimes I'm not. And at this point, honestly, you've just taken up space in my drawer. So it's time for this one to go. Unless it wows me today, which I'm not anticipating. I realize this shade looks awful on camera. It's not as bad in person, so like we'll get through it, but yeah. There is nothing nice about the finish of this foundation. There's nothing illuminating about it. I'm offended that they're getting to use that word, because no. There is no illumination going on. I'm going to see if I can adjust the lighting a little bit and make it more like what is happening in person here, because I think the color in the viewfinder is really off-putting. And if that's what you guys are seeing, you're gonna be like, well, it's the wrong shade, dumbass. No, it completely flushes me out. I don't understand it. I almost feel like it's itchy on my skin. No, not almost, I do. And it's like, is that this horrible sponge, or is it this foundation? I picked this sponge up at Target. I don't know that it was available anywhere else, quite honestly. Just kind of using the clean area of that sponge to wipe away. It's near my eyes because that's got its own treat coming. I can't do any more of that. We're gonna just leave that as is. Okay, I'm gonna take a clean area of the sponge and try to take off a little, just a little. Boy, I hope this bronzer that I brought up here with me that I hate is going to fix everything. Shade 117 is the one that I use. So if you're anything near my skin tone and you're, for whatever reason, interested in that, don't get that color. All right, moving on to concealer. I'm not gonna worry about shade on this too much either because you can't see it, and also it doesn't matter. It's just the actual product itself that really didn't do much for me. But this is the Maybelline Better Skin Concealer, and this just kind of, I don't wear a lot of concealer to begin with. Okay, so let's start with that. But this just kind of didn't do anything for me. I don't know that I've ever tried it with this foundation because I don't use this foundation, but let's see how it performs with this. I like to use concealer as like the primer for eyeshadow sometimes. So we're gonna make this double duty for that. And that's cool because I don't have a primer up here to get rid of anyway. It doesn't look too bad, but there's nothing like outstanding about it. Although, oh my God, is it just me or is this like blinding? Wow. I'm gonna go ahead and set my foundation because I feel like something's gotta help it. This is the Maybelline Fit Me loose powder, and a lot of people really enjoy this. So I wanted to enjoy it, but it just, a little bit of it in the top there. Do you care about the shade? I'll look at it after. It just doesn't do much for me. I'm hoping that maybe if I set this with something, it might suddenly be perfect. Guess what? It's not. Now we're gonna go in with some bronzer. And for bronzer, I love e.l.f. products. I really do. But this is their primer infused bronzer. It's just not, I don't know. I'm trying to see if I can see a shade. Forever Sunkissed. I used it for quite some time, but honestly, what I think it's come down to for me, I'm just gonna use this as a contour as well, is that there's so many other good ones out there that this one is just kind of taking up space. So it's not that this is a particularly bad product, don't get me wrong, it's just not my go-to anymore. So this is time to decide whether or not it's worth hanging on to anymore. Oh, look at that, I'm getting some life back in my face. That's helpful. And I always take like a little bit and come down my neck. And then I like to do a little bit of contour here at the jawline. You need a stiffer brush for that. I couldn't have picked a worse possible brush. But that's where we're at with recovering from that foundation. And I feel like I need to do just a little bit of brushing away of excess up here on my forehead. Guys, again, I have to go out. If I was gonna say that there was a liquid foundation that I'm not a huge fan of, and you guys are probably gonna come at me for this, but it's the Rare Beauty. I just don't get it. And but I'm not going to go over the powders that I just did with that because I have another blush that I'm just not a huge fan of that I think is time for it to probably go, and that is the Tropic Hues Baked Blush from Laura Geller. It's got that gold in it, and it's basically like wearing a highlight on your cheeks as blush. I'm not really 100% sold on that. I don't like a whole lot of highlight anyway, so to add it into my cheek color, there's a time and a place for it, and early December, late November is not it. It's bringing me some life back right now for today's purposes, but not enough to make me feel like, oh, this is a keeper. So that's, Mom would say, put more on. It looks kind of cakey. Highlighter. I have two highlighters. One is a liquid. You're not really going to get the best results with putting a liquid over a powder, but it's highlight, and it's just a tiny little spot anyway. This is the Laritzi. You ever heard of that one? I don't even remember where I got this. It's just not really my favorite, and it dries down really fast, and you can't really work with it. And I definitely like to work with my highlighter. The other one, the powder one that I have, this is from Hard Candy, and it's called Fix My Halo. And this Just Glow Stay Glassy highlighters. I don't know which is the color. This one I got with the intention of duping the Fenty Beauty because she's got that diamond one that's so pretty. So I thought, let me try this because I wasn't 100% sure that I would like that look. It's almost a white shimmer. It's really pigmented. And hers is very similar to this one as well. So I got it. Yeah, wasn't a huge fan. It just stays kind of white and I need it to sheer out more. If I go over it with a finishing powder, like the one that I've got up here, which I will, it's not as bad. It is strong. And up against that cheek color that already has a little bit of a gold shimmer, it's not so great. Just a little bit more finishing powder to calm myself down. Okay, I'm gonna be so mad at myself for this next one, but let's talk about brows. This is the Revlon Color Stay Semi-Permanent Brow Ink. This is like a little, one of these jobs, like a little, a brush. I don't wanna say felt tip, I guess it's a brush tip. There's the color. This didn't do anything for me. This barely showed up on my skin, in my brows. Let me get a spoolie. Try this out. I think we're gonna just accept that this is gonna be like a light brow look today. Don't even get me started on brow colors and this color. I just want to take a second to say that the powder has settled in so bad on my eyelids with using that concealer, and oh, bad. Okay, I'm allowed to wipe off. It's my video. Okay, so with and without. I can't get an even application, so I keep having to go in, and then I feel like that just kind of muddies it all. Where I first put it down, it obviously puts the most of it, but then what I want to point out to you guys is at the base of where I first put it down, it leaves like a splotch of color. It's so bad, you guys. This is definitely going to be going. I'm going to take that spoolie again and kind of comb through it, and hopefully that helps a bit of the brow hair look that I'm going for. Not really, just kind of smears the product around. Okay, so for eyes, I'm going into the Stila Perfect Me Perfect Hue palette. It's got blush in it. So, I mean, this is stuff I'm getting rid of. So I'm going into this darker blush, and I'm gonna see if I can salvage what's going on my cheeks here a little bit. Okay, so that helped a little bit, but still wouldn't be a go-to blush color for me. So the problem I have with this palette is that it's pretty enough, but the colors just don't seem to show up on me. I just really can't get hardly any application of this that makes it worth keeping for me, because I have so many others that are similar in tone that work beautifully, and there's no reason for me to keep fighting with this one just because it's Stila. But yes, this is one of those moments where I had just kind of probably kept something, I think because it's a nice name brand, and we're not doing that anymore. So I'm gonna go into the lightest shade and just apply this as kind of a base color across the lid and about 2/3 of the way up, because I don't have enough blinding bright business on my face already. I'm going into the lighter tan on the side with that same brush, and I'm gonna try putting that in this area and see if I notice any difference at all. None. Even bringing that across my lid, do I notice any difference with that? It takes down the tone of the white just a little bit. Still doesn't look like I have any eyeshadow on. Go into this purpley brown color in the top corner here, and I'm gonna go in my crease with it. We notice that? Honestly, there hasn't been a whole lot from Stila that's really knocked my socks off in general. I even tried their Stay All Day liner, their mascara. I just, none of it has really been anything that really stands out for me. I'm trying to think if there's any other product from them that I've been like, oh yeah, that's great. And I can't think of one. And I'm going back in with that lighter shade and the bigger brush and just going along the edge. I have so many drugstore shadows that I don't have to do this much work with, and they're more pigmented and they blend beautifully. Okay, so now I'm going to take an even smaller brush and go into the real dark brown shade. In the corner. Don't really care for this brush so much. It should go in the get rid of pile too, but I'm just going to use it to apply a little bit where I want it to be most concentrated, and then I'm going to go in with the bigger brush and kind of buff it out. This darker shade is probably the best one in the palette as far as performance goes, pigmentation, blendability. Good to switch mirrors here and there and look and get a different perspective and make sure that you're still on the right page for what your look is that you're going for, because the bigger mirror, she lies. Okay, so I'm going to take a clean brush now and clean up this edge. What's happening here is that the more I blend, the more irritated my skin is becoming, and you can't hardly see the true colors of the eyeshadow anymore because it's just redness setting in. My eye skin, obviously everybody's eye skin is more delicate. So because of that, I'm going to go back in a little bit more here with that white, that first initial white, dab up here, dab up here. I gotta take a breather because y'all, this is pissing me off. Let's go in with that purpley brown and kind of bring a little of that underneath here. That's nice. I'm okay with that. Anywho, okay, so I'm going to take a little of that highlighter because the bright inner corner section here needs something. How's that? That's, wow. Aren't I the one that just said like 3 minutes ago that this was really intense? Okay, so that's actually not too bad then when I spread it over the rest of the lid and kind of blend it into that eyeshadow. So I don't really have a liner that I hate, so I'm not even going to use a liner today, but I do have several mascaras to choose from. And some of you are not going to like this either because one of them, it's the Essence. Don't get me wrong, I love their Princess line, but I find that they transfer quite a bit. And then I thought this waterproof one would not do that, but it does. And it just doesn't go on that well. I wasn't really all that happy with it. So I'm not 100% sure I'm going to get rid of it because waterproof mascara is like a whole beast in and of itself. And that's how I'm going to justify not getting rid of that one right away. So there it is. This one is the CoverGirl. Which one was this? Uncensored. Just not a huge fan. I can't recall more than that it was kind of messy and gloppy, and that's not okay for lashes. So there's that one. This is the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes. Just wasn't a huge fan of that. Didn't really do all that much for me. And then the last one is Mally More is More False Lash Mascara. I think this is one that when I used it the first couple times, it was decent. And then after a few, it just stopped working as well. But you know what? Let's do it. Let's go in with this one. This is the Mally. Was it clumpy? I feel like maybe it's pretty clumpy too. The wand on this is similar to the Give Beauty, with like no hate towards the Give Beauty because that's amazing. That can't stop staring mascara. Is that what it is? It's really good. One thing about not wearing eyeliner when you do eyeshadow look and you have hooded lids is that your eyeshadow pops a little more. It's clumpy, all sorts of clumpy, so I'll have to go through it with my lash comb. So I think because I have so many of them, I'm going to do a different one on this side. Let's do Tarte Lights Camera Lashes on this side and see what happens here. No, it's messy on application, so it's on my lid. I'm going to have to clean that up, but that's not bad. That one I might be willing to keep. Oh God, did I just put... No, I was smelling it to make sure it didn't smell bad. Went over the Mally side with it. I made a mess, but I think this might be a keep. And that's all right. Oh, let's do the Essence waterproof for lower lashes. Mascara is my favorite step when doing makeup, and it's hard for me to not be super picky because I've tried so many of them because it's my thing. You know, like some people are lipstick people, some people love blushes. So mascara is my thing, but I gotta say, this Tarte one may actually just be a keep. And the Essence waterproof is not too bad on the lower lash. So the two things I'm setting aside to go ahead and keep so far are those mascaras. All right, the other two, gone. Almost finally. Lipstick. e.l.f. came out with this great new line of lipsticks, and they're pretty good, but this shade in particular, I think I bought like 2 or 3 different ones. This one is Dirty Talk, and I'm just, it just wasn't doing anything for me. I think this one is supposed to be a dupe for Pillow Talk by Charlotte Tilbury, and I've tried that, and I've tried dupes for it to see what the big deal is because everybody loves that, and it just doesn't work for me. So naturally, this doesn't work for me, but I bought it because what I do, and we're gonna go in with that. I feel like this color just doesn't do anything for me. So even though I like this particular line from them, this is just giving off that weird kind of like peachy pink tone to me of the early 80s. And I don't like it. I don't like it. But I have another lip product. This one is from e.l.f. It's their Hydrating Core Lip Shine. And this is what it looks like. Can you see the core of that? It's like a little heart. So it's got this little heart core, and at first you're like, that's kind of cute, but the shade, it's kind of sheer, kind of peachy. But if I could just show you the side of that. Do you see how the little heart core sticks up? Do you know what that makes me think of every time I go to apply this? I'm sorry, people everywhere, but it feels like it looks like and it does nothing for me. It doesn't really do anything for that lip color either, other than just make it a little bit more shiny. Okay, last thing, and you guys aren't gonna like this because everybody loves it. I mean, everybody loves it, but it's the MAC Fix Plus Finishing Spray. You guys, I don't get it. Now, here's the thing. I've used almost this whole bottle because I use it to spray my sponge and my spoolie when I'm doing like a soap brow or something like that. So I'm using it and I'm not going to throw it out because I'm going to finish using it for what I just talked about. But for a setting spray, I just don't get it. I don't think the sprayer is that nice either. And it leaves glops on my face. So here we are. What do we think? A full face of makeup I hate, and I have to go out look nice tonight. The good news is my husband won't care. He won't even notice. He'll see that I have makeup on. That's all he'll see. I hate it. Okay, hate's a strong word. I don't hate it, but I'm not a huge fan. And honestly, I'm going to clear out the space and give myself room in my makeup area and enjoy what I do have that I love using. These things I'm going to release. Somebody else can have them. Some of it's going in the trash. 2 things I'm keeping. I guess that was worth it. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and stick around because we do all kinds of fun stuff like this on my channel. Speaking of going, now I am going to go out to dinner and act like none of this happened. Like I meant to do this. Like this is on purpose. It's okay. Hope you guys have a great night. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.